camera should I buy as a beginner? Let's start. Let's get this in. This is going to be quick. We'll be done in 15 minutes. What camera should I buy as a beginner? What camera should I buy as a beginner? Here's a detailed breakdown of how we can address the question, what camera should I buy as a beginner, in an engaging and informative way. So I want you guys, if you have questions, make sure you put a Q. That looks like a Q. I think a Q, and dot in your question so I can address it. Okay? So put a Q and your question, because of all of the questions I get as a photographer, this is the #1 question. What camera should I buy as a beginner? Here we go. Introduction to this. Welcome for all those that are here. Choosing the right camera for beginners is important. This video will cover DSLRs and mirrorless cameras. Oh, I forgot my little props. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot my props. Hold on a second. Well, should I get my props? Should I get my props for you guys? Are you guys willing to wait a moment so I can get my props for you? Let me get my props. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm getting my props for you. I got some props because that's going to help you learn. And we're all about learning, because some of you really want to learn photography. So here we go. I'm back. Sorry for that interruption, but I forgot my props. So for those that don't know, it says this video will cover DSLRs. You probably say, what is a DSLR? DSLRs are cameras like this one. And inside of it, we're going to break it down a little bit, but it has a mirror right on the inside, and how it reflects and how it interprets your photo or your picture when you shoot. So, and it's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit bulkier, but this is a DSLR. Then also we're going to talk about mirrorless cameras, which is something like this. They're smaller. Let me get this here. They're smaller, but they don't have a mirror inside, but they have what's called a sensor. So that thing that looks like a reflector in the back, that's a sensor. So mirrorless have sensors, mirrorless cameras. So that way, now I just want you guys to see what the difference. And they're usually smaller. DSLRs with mirrors on the inside. That means there's moving parts. This one is a sensor, less moving parts inside the body of this camera. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure. And obviously, and smartphone options. Well, you know we got smartphones. That was easy. Smartphones. Okay, the best camera depends on budget, interest, which is, are you taking portrait photos? Are you taking landscape photos? Are you taking street photography? Are you doing vlogging? And what is your future goal? How, like, you may be a beginner, but where do you want to go? Where do you want to go as a photographer? Do you want to go into sports photography? Do you want to go into what do you call it? Content creating, just as a content creator? Do you want to do food photography, wedding photography, event photography, portraitures? What is your goal as a beginning photographer? And it's one also that I didn't throw in there, but these little guys, these are point and shoot cameras. And these little guys, this is what I take when I'm just kind of walking around the streets of New York. So, okay, next. Key factors to consider. The most important factors beginners should think about is budget. Entry-level cameras range from $300 to $1,000 plus. Next, type of photography. Again, portraits, landscapes, streets, vlogging, etc., etc., etc. What type of photography do you want to do? What do you want to do with your camera? These are determining factors. Here's another one. Ease of use. User-friendly interfaces and automatic modes. Like here, it has like these little buttons on the side. It makes it easy. I can do what's called touch screen. It's easy to adjust on my screen. The older models, I can't do that with on a DSLR, at least this one from Nikon. You have the glass information up here. It's easy. It's pretty easy to use, but it's a lot of buttons and bells and whistles in these cameras. Here's another one. Key factor to consider. Future proofing. Now, you probably never heard that before. Future proofing, the ability to upgrade lenses and accessories. For instance, you see here, this is what's called a body. If you get a camera like this, even the entry-level ones, this is called a body. A body, right? And then you attach lenses to this body. You attach different types of lenses depending on the type of photography you want to use and want to do. If I'm doing portrait photographers, it requires a certain type of lens. If I'm doing sports photography, it requires a certain type of lens. But whatever my goal is as a photographer, I need to be able to get that camera body to take on the lenses that I need for my objective goal. Okay? So it should have the ability to upgrade the lenses and accessories. I can put a flash on here because it has what's called a shoot or a shoe right there. Oh, there we go. Right there. I can put a flash there. Or I can use the flash that came with this camera, right? So I can put one on, and I'll show you that in a moment. What's a flash look like that? Hold on. Here we go. This is the flash. This is a flash I can put on top of the camera and use it accordingly to photograph in darkness or low light situations, right? Here we go. That's what we do, right? Perfect. Okay, so that's a flash, external flash. So you want a camera that you can expand on. Size and portability. Size and portability. Mirrorless cameras like this one are often smaller and lighter than the DSLR. Okay, just so you know. Now, there are all the other types of cameras, fancy cameras out there, but for beginners, you want one of these 2 or 3, or you can start with your smartphone, right? Now, I did mention to you my point and shoot. My point and shoot camera is limited. It has everything built into it. Okay, there we go. So it has a zoom lens inside of it. It's built into it, but I can't change this lens. So I am limited into what I can photograph with this camera. This is great for my street photography. I'm walking around the streets. I'm doing my walks. I carry my camera around. I'm going to a little event, and I just want to have this with me. I can take something really quick. It's fast. I point and I shoot. Okay? But it's small and tiny. So I can just slide this onto my neck, and no one knows I have it. And it's kind of easy to conceal when I'm roaming the streets of New York. Okay, next. Best beginner cameras. This is something I have never done before. I have never listed this, but thanks to our wonderful DeepSeek, it gave me some great cameras. Entry-level DSLRs, Canon EOS Rebel T7 EOS 2000D. Why? Because it's affordable, great for learning the basics, good for still photography and casual video. Also, we have the Nikon D3500. Excellent image quality, user-friendly, guide mode, lightweight, and great for beginners. Okay, I'm not supporting any of these. This is not brand endorsements. This is just cameras that the computer said. My AI machine said these are the best cameras right now for beginners. That's the beauty of studying. Okay, next one. Entry-level mirrorless cameras. That's these babies like this one. Right? Let me, when I take off this lens, you see how big this lens is? This is a big lens, right? But look how tiny it is compared with no lens. Look how small this is. Right? Very small. But it gets these cameras are amazing. I love my mirrorless camera. But anyway, Sony Alpha. They have a Sony Alpha A6100. Fast autofocus, compact, and great for both photos and video. And also ideal for the vloggers who are on here, and hybrid shooters. Canon EOS M50 Mark II. Versatile, easy to use, and great for vlogging because we have a lot of content creators. Good selection of lenses for beginners. Okay. What's next? Let me go to the next one. Budget friendly options. Fujifilm X-T200. Stylish, lightweight, and excellent color production. Great for hobbyists who want a fun retro style camera. It was, as a matter of fact, this camera is one of the hottest cameras on the market. There was a back order because this is for those for the yuppies in New York City that want to walk around. Usually you see these, yuppie young folks walking around with this camera, the Fujifilm X, and it has that old time look. It has like a retro look to it, and they can walk around like they walk the streets of Paris. So anyway, but it has some style to it. Panasonic Lumix G7. Another great camera, affordable. It has a 4K video and good for beginners interested in videography. Okay, right? So let me go here. Let me kind of reduce that. Is this making sense to anyone? Is this making any sense? Let me see what you guys are saying. Let me take a pause here. I see here. Probably so you're good. Let's see what you guys got here. What you guys are saying. Anthony says DSLR digital single lens reflex. Okay, thank you for that, D. Thank you for the abbreviation information there. Okay, and yes, and Anthony says you can also save money buying used gear. So we're going to talk about that. But before we go there, I want to just mention, and because I want to make sure I do this, is one, if you are interested in photography, you want tutoring, you can reach out to me. I do tutoring. I've tutored on all kinds of cameras, so you can reach out to me. Photograph Your World, virtual basic photography 101, and I do it virtually. So that means I can teach you wherever you are in the world. So we can do that together. And also, again, thank you for the folks who sponsor this. Rolling Clouds, the Patreon community, and it treatments those are the sponsors that support and make this platform possible again. So now we're going back to the lesson. Okay, so the next thing online is a smartphone photography. Modern smartphones. That's pretty much all of these guys. Examples: iPhone 15 Pro, but now we got the 16 Pro. We got some new ones that are coming out. We got the 17 coming out, hopefully in the middle of this year. For Apple, we got Samsung Galaxy 24. I think someone told me the 25 is coming out. We have the Google Pixel 8. Can be great starting points for beginners if you are looking for not just a phone, but you're looking for a camera. Because most photographers, we don't just want a phone. We want a phone that can shoot. So we have cameras on our phones, and we want the best ones out there. So smartphones have convenience. They're portable and advanced computational photography features. So you got all kinds of bells and whistles in your smartphone. Next, lenses and accessories. Lenses are just as important as the camera body. The old saying among photographers, you got to get some good glass. Sounds like a jazz song, right? Get some glass. That's what, when you hear photographers say that, yo, tell me, hey, what kind of glass you got there? They're talking about the lenses. The lenses, these little babies here, let me pop this one off again. This little baby right here is called a lens. And it goes onto the camera. And you want a good lens because the lens is like someone with a bad eye. If you don't have a good eye, you can't see properly. A lens does the same thing. You want your best lens you can find. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of photographers that will make sure they put all of their money into their lenses. They will rather have 2 top of the line lenses than 5 cheap lenses. Right, photographers out there? They would rather have 2 top of the line lenses versus 5 cheap lenses. Because this lens is everything to your photo. Okay, so just remember that. Remember that the lens, the glass, is so important. So here we go. Lenses are just as important as the camera body. I recommend starting with a kit lens, usually 1855. Now, what they mean by kit lens is like this zoom lens. It's a zoom lens. Kit lens are usually in lower numbers, but they are like zoom. They do have a zoom feature. This one has a zoom feature, but they're not. This one's a much larger lens. This one is 18-300. But to start a lens, like for just starting, you don't need something this powerful. You can get something that's 18-55 millimeter, and that gives you the ability to zoom in and zoom out, right? To zoom in and zoom out with a good lens. However, with a zoom lens, you do what they call sacrifice a little bit of quality in the picture, meaning they're not as sharp. but it's so small that you can't recognize, especially in today's world with the way lenses and technology is for cameras. Then it says here, usually an 18 millimeter for DSLRs, mirrorless, or a prime lens. Now, prime lens is a lens. Do I have one right here? I don't have one right here. It's a fixed lens, meaning it's no zoom. You can't zoom. It's just that number. So it's an 85 millimeter lens. It's a 50 millimeter lens. And you put that onto the camera and it doesn't zoom. It's just a fixed lens. It's a prime lens. Now, the benefit of the prime lens is that you get a more crisp photo. The clarity is sharper because it doesn't have to go through several mechanisms within the body of a zoom. And the pictures are usually more crisp. Okay? And you become the zoom. When you have a prime lens, you got to go move forward or move backwards off the subject. When you have a zoom lens, you can stay still and zoom in and zoom out. Okay. So it says for those prime lenses, for better low light performance, because you can get that nice f-stop down to like a 1.2, 1.4, 1.8. Performance and bokeh. Like you see, it's like these little lights. We call that bokeh. Hold on a second. Probably my doctor calling. And next is here are some essential accessories. Memory cards. These little guys. Like, you see this right here? This is called a memory card. I usually carry a 1 terabyte in my camera. And because my camera has two drive slots, and I can put in my 1 terabyte, which means I can do lots of photography. It serves as a backup usually. And then I have another. Do I have that here with me? Do I have that? No, I don't have it with me. But I have another SD card that goes into the camera. And then that will be my backup. This one has 2 slots as well. So I have a backup that kind of like keeps my photos. And then I take one and I use it to do my edits and stuff. So memory cards are important. And yes, you want to get quality memory cards. That's a whole nother subject in itself. So we won't go into it. But you want good quality cards. This one is a SanDisk, which I use most of the time. And so that's that, the cards, memory cards. Also, extra batteries. These cameras do have batteries. If I pop this open, there we go. There's a battery right in there. That goes right in here, right there. Done. Batteries are right there. So, and a basic camera bag and strap. Well, I just happen to have my big bag here. This one is my on the road bag, and I use this everywhere I pretty much go. But if I am on the road and I'm doing something corporate or I'm doing something a little more high end, then I have this bag. And if you go inside of these bags, they have compartments inside the bags. So, and those compartments protect the lens, protect the body. Is this useful information to anyone out there? Are you finding this useful? Let me know. If you find this useful, let me know in the comment box. The comments, not the comic, the comment box. Okay, I see here. Let me see what you guys are saying. Are there any questions out there? I didn't see any cues. I did not see any cues. Okay. There have been a lot of AI jobs popping up in LinkedIn. Okay, see that. I see that. Well, yeah, you guys got the conversation going while I'm talking lessons. You can also save money with gear. I love the Google Pixel. Anthony says he loves the Google Pixel. Warren says Siri budget lens, Arc Rokinen And Austria Artisan, they all sell budget lenses for Sony and Fuji, I believe. Okay, I'll put that up there. So you got that. And Anthony says that this is definitely a photographer saying is date your bodies, marry your lens. Because most of the time you will change out your body and get a new body, but you want your lenses to be with you forever. Very true, Anthony, another photographer in the room. Date your bodies, but marry your lenses. Okay, I see that. Emperor sends out absolutely 100%. And Derek says they now sell different. Oh, he says they now sell different lenses for the iPhone to shoot different types of shots. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. There are lenses you can add on to your smartphones. Yes, you can. Anthony says, one of my favorite photos was shot with a kit lens on an entry-level body. Yes, right. And Warren says, Tamron sells excellent off-brand zooms, but cheaper. Yes, I do have a Tamron lens. I have one. I have one that I use, and I love my Tamron lens. Derek says yes. Mimi says yes. Okay, so you guys are getting something out of this. Anthony says yes. Warren says yes. Ron caught a tide right quick. Y'all better listen to the lessons. That's right. I charge for these lessons. Y'all better take notes. My students pay for this. My students pay for this. Lisa says, we better. That's right. You better be taking this in. You better be learning. Okay, here we go. I got all your statements. Okay, so next, and we're almost done. Tips for beginners. Start with automatic modes. On all of these cameras, there's what's called automatic. It's okay to use the automatic mode. And then gradually learn your manual settings. Learn them. Yeah. What is your aperture? What is the speed? Your shutter speed? Your ISO? Learn all those little bells and whistles. But you got to learn. When I talk to my students, I say, please study the manual. Please read through your manual. The first class when I have my students, the first thing I tell them, pick up the manual so you understand all the nomenclature. What is nomenclature? That is all of the bells and whistles, the buttons, the screens, the lens, what everything means and what it all does. Nomenclature. You need to know the nomenclature of your camera. Okay, next thing. Practice composition techniques like we've talked about here. Rule of thirds, leading lines, etc. Don't get overwhelmed by gear. Yes, do not be that guy or girl that they're so into the gear that they don't ever learn how to be a photographer. It is focus on learning and creativity. That is where you want to put your energy. That is where you want to put your knowledge. That's where you want to experiment. That's where you want to put your time. Focus on learning and being a creative. Their creativity. What was nice about going to art galleries and going to museums and seeing great photography, they took those photos with less technical gear. Look at Jamel Shabazz. Jamel Shabazz had less technical gear in the 80s, 90s, and his work is shown in galleries and museums around the world. Right? It's not in. Don't focus on the gear. I've been to workshops, and it's that annoying person in the side that's always asking, so what are you shooting with? What size lens? What's the numbers on your lens? What's the numbers on your camera? What kind of camera? What's the model? How long when did they make that camera? How long did, oh, you're like, please just shut up. Just shut up. Learn how to be a photographer. Learn rule of thirds. Learn leading lines. Learn how to, take photos in shadow and light. Learn. Be creative. Just take the doggone thing out and use it. Take the camera out and use it. Now we conclude. Top recommendations are based on different needs and budgets. That's what we learned today. Top recommendations are based on different needs and budgets. Those cameras that we listed, those are just samples. You don't have to go out and buy those cameras that were listed here. But at least you have a starting point. When you go into your camera store, you can say, I need a camera like this one, or I would like cameras that fit this type of camera. I'm a beginner. I want to have cameras that are going to grow with me. I need a camera that can grow with me. This is my ultimate. If you go to a good camera shop, they're going to ask you all the right questions. But at least when you go to the camera shop, because of this lesson, you will be able to ask the right questions. Right? Next, please feel free to comment with your questions or share what camera you're using. I would like to know. Put it in the comment box. Because a lot of people in here are photographers. What camera are you using? Share what camera you're using. And next week, we'll be talking about what is the exposure triangle. Okay, so next Tuesday, on our next Tip Tuesday, we'll be doing that. It'll be, what is the exposure triangle? So we're going to, every question that people ask about photography, we're going to do that. Okay, and let's see here. And are we good? We're good here? There we go. There we go. Did you learn anything today? Did you learn anything today out there? Amparo says, I'm about to upgrade to a D810. This is my D810, Amparo. D810 right here. I love my D810. I love it. Anthony says Nikon Z8 and Nikon D850. Boy, you got the good stuff. Woo! You got that Z8, baby. That's a camera. Felicia says, Fifi's in the building. She says, hey, everyone. She said, love you, Ron. And Warren says, Ron, my hours for work have changed. I won't be able to join. This has been an eye-opening experience. Thank you. Well, Warren, that's why we have replays. You can always catch us on YouTube. That's why we're not on Instagram, right? Because Instagram, you can't save it and look it up and enjoy it and index it. You can always go to YouTube, stay on YouTube, and you can catch the replay anytime you like. You can watch us on your big screen TV. Okay. Desava says, good. Yes, good information as always. Amparo says, looking to go mirrorless Nikon Z2. You trying to get both of my cameras. I got the Nikon Z2 right here. I got the Nikon Z2 right here. Okay, so there you have it. So if you want to play with it, we can hang out and you can play with mine. Mimi says, great information. Mimi Hinton says, great information. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Again, hit the likes if you're here for the first time, and put comments in the comment box, and that will help the algorithms and also let people know that we are here on this platform to serve. Okay, it is. We've been on here an hour and a half. I'm gonna have to let you go. It's 12:30. It's time to let you go, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. And let's be vigilant. I'm gonna put all the information in the. You can find for the Patreon folks. All of those are Patreon members. You can become a Patreon member by supporting what I do here. But what you do on Patreon, let me just share that real quick, because if you want to see the whole lesson, if you want the lesson, go to, let me see here. Let me go here. So, before I run out of here. Okay, there you go. There you have it. There you have it. This is today's lesson. Is on Patreon. So it's all laid out, nice and neat, nice and gathered here. All the information, everything you need is right here on the Patreon page for the Patreon members, the paying Patreon members. Okay, so become a Patreon member and invest in what we do here. Okay, so there you go. On Patreon, just go to Ron Lewis Photos, and there you have it. I see here Dave Save says, have a great one, Ron. Absolutely. Thank you, dear. And also, I see in here. Yes. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Again, get on. I'll put all the links for all the Instagram and also for Roland inside the description of this video. Okay, guys. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy. Bye.